Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you with some more EPS action out of the map Belshire Vestige. Spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we do have ESCeu's representative, the orange Protoss player, ShowTime. And up here in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent from mouz. It's going to be mouz's HeroMarine as the red Terran player. And, you know, one of these days, I'm seriously just going to go, like, total wrestler announcer with player names, just be like, and up here in the top right-hand corner, we have spawning in, representing the team of mouz. It is going to be our red Terran player, HeroMarine. And it's just going to be fantastic. I might not draw it on for that long, because that actually kind of got awkward, and I could, like, feel the tension rising in the room. Like, I was like, oh, man, this is going on too long. Come on, boys, just cut it short, but then my voice was just like, nah, I like the sound of me too much, and then it just stretched on. It was really annoying. So anyway, this is a tied series. It is a best of 3. It's currently at 1-1 between our two players for today. ShowTime managing to take game 1, HeroMarine managing to knock that last game off him. So this is, of course, ShowTime's map pick, as this was a loser pick series, or at least I'm like 98% sure this was a loser pick series. It might have been one of those brand fangled new just veto out 6 maps of the 9 map pool, and then, you know, we play on the remaining maps. But I'm guessing it was a loser picks map. You know what I would like? I would like a series where it's not loser picks, but like loser vetoes. So you have like a set of like 3 maps that can happen per time, or well, there's a starting map, and then there's a 7 map pool. So like the next map, actually no, that's kind of loser pick just out of a limited pool. You know, I'll think of a better, you know, more interesting and kind of more fancy and more like you anticipate it, like from the map pool. We do actually have HeroMarine going for a much earlier gas than he ever does, or at least he has ever done in this series. I mean, his gases previously were at like 5-6-ish minutes, and this one is actually at 3. Actually a little bit before 3, as he does have his Reaper now coming out. So this is going to be a fairly early gas. Of course, I like Reapers on Belshire Vestige. It's definitely not their best map, but it's a map that's pretty nice. And, you know, it's a map that works out quite well. And here, all right, I figured it out. I had to like talk about random crap while I was figuring out what I want a veto system to be like. All right, so you have a 9 map pool. There's 1 starting map. Then after that starting map, the loser of the first map gets to veto 3 maps from the remaining 8 maps, and then the winner picks out of the remainder. Either or vice versa. It can be the winner vetoes 3 maps, and then the loser picks the remainder, which would just be way cooler because it would give you stuff to talk about in the middle of the game, in the middle of like the break. Of course, you know, it would be very, very difficult to like fill that much time and to have players be like, okay, so listen, we're starting on Neoplanet S. We have 8 other maps on this map pool list. You get to veto 3 if you're the winner of the first game, and then the loser picks out of the remaining 5. And then after that, you get to veto 3 if you're the winner of the next game, and the loser picks out of the remaining 2. It would be a lot more complex, but like tournaments already have plenty of downtime in between games, and I feel like it would just be like a cooler thing to have, where it's like, you know, these players actually both had a decision in the process of picking maps, and it wasn't just like the loser picked the map that their race is best on. It was like the winner's like, okay, well, I'm bad on this map and I'm bad on that map, and I know he's going to counter pick me by picking those 2, so I'm going to ban those 2. And then he's going to have to pick the map that, you know, maybe he's not the best on, or maybe that I'm okay on, or maybe that I'm better on, and it just adds like this whole nother level of complexity. It still kind of gives like the loser the extra oomph, but it doesn't quite give them the ridiculous power of being able to choose like, I don't know, Atlantis Starship, or not Atlantis spaceship, the recent one, Star Station, as the Zerg player, and just go like cross-spawn Star Station, Swarm Host versus Protoss, and just win, because, you know, that map is pretty good for Zerg players, and, you know, you really need to go for a super high aggression build if you actually want to take it as a Protoss. But anyway, back to this game. We don't have too much fancy stuff happening right now. We have HeroMarine with a much faster starport out. He is going to be going for some early draw pressure here. I'm not sure how good it's going to be. It looks like it is going to be a 4 Marine, 2 Widowmine drop, which is not too much of a surprise. That's a pretty solid composition to go for. It's going to be interesting to see what he then decides to expand out his tactics from there on. Wow, that was a jumbled sentence, but I think I got all the important words across. It looks like he is going to be going into much more barrack-centric play, which is not too much of a surprise considering the fact that his second gas is so much later than his first one. I would not be surprised to see the remainder of his gas go into creating yet another medevac. However, I'm not sure. Actually, it's going to be 2 tech labs. Oh, alright, so he's going to be powering out 2 tech labs, and then he's going to swap the barracks onto those tech labs and start researching, you know, the more important upgrades, the more important stuff like stim and combat shields, which is not too amazing, but, you know, it's kind of just an interesting little quirk. I would have expected another medevac to come out and maybe just have the factory power out the tech labs. But, you know, to each their own. And it looks like we are going to have HeroMarine coming down here with the medevac. It will be swinging into this natural expansion. It's going to be interesting to see where it actually decides to land. It's going to scout out these 2 forges. It does manage to draw out the photon overcharge, which is an amazingly big thing to be able to pull out of your opponent. And it's going to be going right for the main. However, there are already observers here, so it should not really be too dangerous. I mean, like, the Widow Mines aren't going to be able to do too much. There is a Widow Mine down here in the natural. It only got 2 kills on its first attack, which is pretty good, but it's not absolutely amazing. And this observer should be able to get down there and snipe it off before it manages to recharge. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, yeah, no. Alright, it looks like that photon overcharge will be able to snipe off that Widow Mine. So that really was not too great for HeroMarine. I mean, he managed to kill off 4 workers, but 4 workers is not worth it, especially if he loses that medevac. Oh my god, he loses the medevac, he loses all the units inside it. And that's just rough. I mean, he manages to kill off 5 probes, but 5 probes for a medevac full of Marines and Widow Mines, not worth it at all in any way, shape, or form. It looks like we are going to have HeroMarine already starting up some pretty hefty Marauder production, 2 Marauders at a time. So he's going to have a pretty even Marauder Marine count in his army, which is going to be a little awkward, especially considering the tech choices that ShowTime has been making. He does have the robotics payout, but he hasn't been building anything from it. He is not yet getting his range. It might be starting soon, but I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, there the range goes. He does have the Twilight Council on the way, and ShowTime just really likes this very diverse play. Like, he hasn't gone for a starport yet, but he really likes to go for both Colossi and charge lots and Archons and all of this storm and all that stuff at the exact same time. And it's really an awesome thing because it makes it very hard for HeroMarine to actually choose out a strategy to counter him. And it's just a really well-played tactic that he manages to get away with so well. It looks like we are going to have Blink coming out, which is an interesting decision to see from a PvT. I mean, like, Blink is amazingly useful in PvPs because you have actual Stalker versus Stalker fights. In PvT, it's not nearly as useful. I mean, like, you can blink away from the Marauder shots, but Marauders shoot a lot more, and they do slightly less damage than Stalkers, I think. Right? Man, I'm probably completely wrong on that. Yeah, I'm completely wrong on that. I think Marauders, at the very least, shoot at the same speed. Yeah, they do. And with Stim, they actually shoot a lot faster, so the blink really isn't nearly as effective as it is versus other Stalkers. I mean, it's still nice, but it's hard to actually get done right. And pulling your army back like that, especially considering the fact that a lot of players will have a large Zealot buffer to kind of stop the Marauders from getting in and killing off their Colossi, it makes it a little bit more awkward to, you know, just get that blink and try to blink back because you really want that buffer and you want those Stalkers getting ultimate damage on it. It looks like we are going to have a small engagement going down here. A nice time warp on that ramp. And wow, this was beautifully played by ShowTime. He should be able to clean this entire thing up. Actually, oh, these Colossi. Ooh, the Colossi. The Colossi does go down. Of course, he managed to clean up the entire army of HeroMarine, which is a reasonable trade. I mean, it's not the best. He did, of course, lose his Colossus, which is a little bit painful, but that's primarily because he just didn't have enough sentries. I feel like if he had been able to force field off this other part of the ramp that all the units started to break up, he would have been in a beautiful position because that time warp was impeccable. That was so well played by ShowTime. It was really just beautifully done. It looks like we do have the Nexus coming down for ShowTime. It is finished up. So ShowTime is actually going to be, in the first time in this series, I believe, in the economic advantage. HeroMarine has almost always had his third base up. He's almost always had his natural up faster than his opponent. But this time, ShowTime finally manages to take that third base faster, which is pretty good for a Protoss player. You always want to be a step ahead as far as economy goes, because then you're always going to be in a fairly comfortable position. It looks like we finally do have a charge on the way for ShowTime, along with +2/+2. So he is going to be moving into a very, very ground-centric army, which, of course, with how he's been playing this entire series, is not too much of a surprise. I would still love to see him at least show off the capability of going for some level of Stargate play. Like, I would love to see just one Oracle. One Oracle is something that can do so much freaking damage, especially when you play like ShowTime has been playing, where you've only gone for ground units, and like your opponent will start to stop getting missile turrets in his base, and he'll start, you know, feeling safe from those oracles. And then one oracle comes in and clears a mineral line, and suddenly you're in a really wonderful position. It looks like HeroMarine does want to push into this fight, which isn't too much of a surprise considering the fact that as the bio player, he really needs to pour on the aggression, because his army is not going to be at nearly the same level as ShowTime's when it comes to late game engagements. He really needs to pour on the pressure this mid game. Stop like an army of like 6 Colossi and 5 full energy Templar coming out, because if that army manages to hit the field, suddenly HeroMarine's basically dead. We do have HeroMarine looking like he's ready to take that 4th base, and I could see that happening quite soon. I mean, HeroMarine is in a pretty reasonable position, but he is going to mine out of his main in a pretty fast time. I mean, a couple of these mineral fields are already quite low, and with mules and stuff like that, he's going to be mining out a lot faster than his opponent. And it looks like we are going to have HeroMarine preparing to move out across the map at this point. He, of course, does not have too many medevacs. He's been focusing a lot more on Viking production than he has in the previous games, which isn't too much of a surprise. Belshir Vestige is a map with a lot of those good spots where you can kind of force field off your opponent. It's very important to have Vikings when you're getting force fielded, because you really need to snipe off those Colossi no matter what. And when you're force fielded, your ground forces usually just can't do that. It looks like we are going to have this army swinging over to the 3rd base of his opponent. A scan does go down, so he does know exactly where the posture of the Protoss player is. However, ShowTime is in a pretty wonderful position, and HeroMarine is going to want to push right now because he does, of course, have full supply, and we are going to see him coming in right now. Hellbat's a little bit trapped up in the rest of his army. We have a reasonable concave coming in, but oh god, ShowTime, he does have a really nice position. He can get a really nice engagement here. It's all going to be about whether or not this Nexus falls. We have a small snipe squad going in, but the Storm is just so good. It is going to force all of those units back, or else they will die. It looks like we have a small flank coming around from the right side. They managed to take out one of the Colossi, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. I mean, these Vikings are doing actually an impeccable job taking down Colossi, and we have HeroMarine managing to break through all of the Colossi, but there's just so many units and not enough medevacs, and it looks like the regen from ShowTime's army of just being able to, you know, create new units out of the warp gates just is gonna be just enough to stop HeroMarine from breaking through. We have a lot of High Templars on the way, along with +3 armor about to finish up. +3 weapons has not yet been started, but, you know, ShowTime is pretty comfortably ahead on upgrades right now. I mean, +2 armor isn't even finished for HeroMarine, and +3 weapons is barely just started, so with Chrono Boost, he can actually be in a fairly good position. We have HeroMarine preparing to move out across this map yet again, but he just does not have a lot of medevacs. I mean, he's at 3 medevacs right now on the field, which is not a whole ton, especially considering the fact that he's pushing up into an army that has Templar, it has Colossi, it just has so much AoE damage, and you really need a lot of medevacs to be able to minimize that whenever possible. We have these charge lots moving in, 5 more charge lots have been warped, and nice storms going down in this army, and HeroMarine just without the micro to get out of these storms, so many of these units dying just standing still in storms. Oh my god, HeroMarine. I mean, he's a great player and he's a great macro player, but he is just fumbling his micro in some of these engagements, and it's really causing him to lose a lot of units that they don't have to die. I mean, Belshir Vestige is kind of an awkward map to micro on, but you can't just lose a pack of 8 Marines to 1 Psystorm. You can't let that happen. That's too much damage being done by it. It looks like HeroMarine will be preparing to move out yet again here. He does have Hellbats with +1 armor completed, +1 weapons on the way for those Hellbats, +3/+3 coming out for his infantry. However, the +3 from ShowTime will be finished up much faster than that. I'm expecting to see Chrono Boosts coming down on this all the time. We also have shields on the way, so the Protoss armor, the Protoss upgrades are just going to be so much better, and we do have this engagement looking like it's going to happen here. There are not a lot of Vikings in this army, and it looks like this Colossi will be taking quite a bit of damage, but honestly, the army from ShowTime is just so good, and it looks like we are going to have these Zealots just getting cleaned up. This Colossi with a little bit of a missed rally point will almost walk over that cliff to its death, but it will be able to pull back in time. We do have just constant Zealot production coming out from ShowTime, which is not too much of a surprise considering how heavy into Marauders HeroMarine is going, because Marauders kind of suck when it comes to fighting off those Zealots and those Archons. And it looks like we are going to have this engagement coming in yet again, and these Archons just wrecking through the face of their opponents. Oh my god, these High Templar are just doing so much damage with storms. Let's look at the kill count. Wow, they do not have that many kills, and the Archons also do not have that many kills. What has the kills in this army? Has he just been like recycling through everything? Yeah, he has. Like, nothing in this army actually has a high kill count. I think the highest is on this Colossus with 6 kills, which is not impressive. It looks like we are going to have 6 High Templar warping in. Would not be too surprised to see all those guys just turn into Archons. However, it looks like he is slightly smarter than me. Actually, no. He's just about as smart as me. He is going to warp into those Archons. Of course, you know, waiting for that Psy Storm is not quite what he wants to do right now, because he is going to be going right for the throat here. He is going to be moving right into the natural, and honestly, HeroMarine with some very, very poor positioning, getting completely drawn offside by these Zealots, is going to let ShowTime get into exactly the position that he wants, which is going to be up on this high ground, because HeroMarine is going to have to swing in from this right side, and it's going to be very hard to get a good concave right here, especially considering the fact that he's fighting off against Archons and Colossi that can just have such insane range. And here we have it going down. It looks like a couple of these Colossi are going to get cleaned up by the Vikings, but I'm not sure if that even matters, as HeroMarine's supply just plummets, and he is forced to GG to ShowTime, and congratulations to ShowTime on taking this series 2-1. That was a pretty high-tension match. I mean, both of these players just showed off some great macro skills, but honestly, HeroMarine's micro just faltered a little bit in those last couple games, and it cost him. I mean, again, you can't sit in storms. It just does not work like that. Storms are just way too strong to just have your units sit in. So anyway, guys, if you want your games commentated, you can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. Also, if you like more boisterous action, head on over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Thank you all for watching this best of 3, and this is Boisterous, signing out.